5 people are sitting on thrones, and in front of them is a man chained in chains. Someone addresses the prisoner, calling him an inner disciple named Jiang Yu. The man is asked if he confesses that he insulted the Holy Son of the Holy Land. The convert looks triumphantly at the hunched prisoner. The white-haired man kicks up, rattling the chains of handcuffs, and rudely replies that he is not guilty no matter what anyone says. He is stopped by a loud fist strike on the armrest of the throne and is accused of being a cheeky traitor. They wanted to give him a chance to start from scratch, but it seems that the cheeky does not know his place at all. The prosecutor orders the removal of Jiang Yu's supreme bone. The white-haired man smiles, despite the threatening words, and a thin bloody trickle flows from his lips. He says that as expected from the divine bastard standing in front of him, who only needs his supreme bone. Jiang Yu raises his hand and hits his chest with his fist, from where a sea of blood immediately flows. Some of the observers are amazed by this, others just sigh in disappointment. The prisoner holds out his hand with a glowing core and says that it's just the supreme bone, so let them take it if they want to. The man immediately adds that in 3 years, he, Jiang Yu, swears that these people in the Holy Land of Lingsao will pay for what they did today. 3 years later, at the entrance to Hong, Jiang Yu was sitting under a waterfall in the lotus position and meditating on a stone. The system message is displayed in front of the man's face with a blue window and informs that the system is activated. Now access to the system is open. 3 years later, he finally completed the task of activating the system. The system in the form of a cloud with a smile congratulates the owner on the restoration of the supreme bone and the successful activation of the system. The rewards for completing the task are highlighted. The Emperor's Divine Cultivation Level Method. A special reward for it is an extremely strong buff, namely immortality. Jiang Yu smiles happily. So many years of suffering were worth it. In his joy, he even confesses his love to the system. But she immediately changes her anger to mercy, temporarily closes the reward space, which throws the owner into confusion. The system decides to stop working, and therefore the owner will be forcibly removed from here. Jiang Yu tries to stop her, but the system is adamant. The euphoria disappears, and the man falls on his ass, not even realizing what the hell just happened. He wonders if he hasn't been informed that Jiang Yu is already invincible. But it is only in the realm of Kai purification. On the Tianyu continent, martial arts are divided into 9 realms: body refinement, Kai purification, 5 elements, true mastery, immortality, sage, and supreme. Each of these kingdoms has 3 stages: early, middle, and last. The gap between each realm is like the difference between heaven and earth. Jiang Yu is drowning in doubts. Is it really true that he is strong? But he just didn't know about it until now. He's at an early stage of Kai purification. The sword in his hands is a spiritual level weapon. Even a person in the realm of the 5 elements will not be able to resist it. Jiang looks at his reflection in the blade of the ball and tells himself that he is immortal anyway, so just do it. The man hesitantly puts his sword to his throat and cuts the thin skin. The sword falls from weakened hands. Jiang clamps the wound, cursing. It seems he is not immortal at all. The eyes close, and the man falls into a puddle of his own blood. That's it. This is the end of Jiang Yu's path. However, a minute later, the blood begins to boil and then trickles back into the man's body. She is back in the body of the owner, and the wound on the neck is gently tightened. Even the scar will not remain. Jiang gets up from the ground, rubbing his forehead, which he hit on impact, and asking what happened to him. A golden aura appears around him, and you will not confuse this feeling with any other. He guesses the feeling of a breakthrough unmistakably. A man at an early stage of the 5 elements. Jiang isn't sure whether to be happy with him or not. Will he get stronger with each death? Not the most rosy alignment. In the audience hall of the Hunu sect, people will learn that the disciple has made a breakthrough and awakened the full power of the essence. This essence is even better than Jiang Yu's supreme bone. The Hunu sect is truly blessed by the gods. The chief gives the order to find this disciple so that their sect can teach him. They need such outstanding people. Jiang Yu, meanwhile, is trying to become strong and realizes that doing this is very tiring. And he looks really rumpled. He died 1,000 times in an hour, and the system is unhappy with this behavior. In the hands of the cloud holds a divine weapon, the great sword, and asks the owner to stop his bragging. The man complains that after 1,000 deaths, he broke through only to the late stage of the realm of the 5 elements. Jiang only gets 1 experience point each time he kills himself. In order to break into the realm of true mastery, he has to die another 10,000 times. Cloud happily waves his sword. It's only 10,000, so the system is ready to help. The man jumps up and angrily squeezes the cloud in his hands, cursing loudly. He is ready to forget how difficult the activation task was, but the fact that raising the level was so difficult is just a real headache. The system laughs awkwardly. Can it act against the main character? If Jiang doesn't believe her, then let him look into her pure and sincere eyes. The man displeased shows the cloud the middle finger. Well, okay, Jiang doesn't want to go through this bullying again. It would be better to use this time to learn cultivation techniques. It will be more slow, but not as painful. He decides to study the Emperor's cultivation method, but he doesn't have enough experience points. Learning this method requires thousands of experience points. Jiang angrily taps his finger on the screen. Is the system mocking him? But no matter how much the man attacked the screen, he still didn't have enough experience. Two cultivators are moving rapidly through the forest. The guy tells the elder sister that, by order of the elders, he is responsible for finding a disciple who has awakened his essence, but for some reason the presence of this disciple sometimes disappears and reappears. This is due to the fact that Jiang kills himself and is reborn again. The elder sister asks if it can be the body of chaos or the essence of nothingness, but the guy replies that such creatures only exist in legends, so let him stop saying such things about an outstanding person. They approach Jiang Yu, who is counting how many times he has already died. The girl opens her eyes in surprise. What is brother Jiang doing here? He does not notice old acquaintances. At this time, he rejoices that this is the last time, and the method of cultivation of the divine level will be in his hands. The blonde hurries to stop her brother from committing suicide, asking him not to make such a big mistake. Jiang looks at Dea with surprise as she approaches. With tears in her eyes, she wonders why her brother commits such a stupid thing as suicide. Dea knows that her father offended him 3 years ago, but even in that case, you can't kill yourself. Jiang tries to explain, everything is not what it really looks like. He doesn't even die, to be honest, but he can't say that a man did it for cultivation either. Dea asks if the brother has regained his cultivation level. In that case, is he really the person who awakened his physique in the clan? Jiang quickly comes to the conclusion that it looks like his supreme bone has been revived, and the aura that leaked out was discovered by the Hong sect. Dea is happy for an old friend. She believed that he could do it. When the girl starts talking about the elders, the man gloatingly imagines what kind of faces they would have if they found out about this news. In the main hall of the clan, Master Lin is congratulated on the appearance of another talented student. Father Day, sitting next to him, laughs. How can the Hongwu clan compare with the talented people of the Lingsao Holy Land? But the interlocutor does not react to the words of the interlocutor in any way. He just smiles and remembers that last time it was the Supreme Bone, and this time a genius physique, stronger than the Supreme Bone. Even for his holy land, such a phenomenon is very rare. The man, however, quickly gives out that he actually came here for selfish purposes, although he is really here to congratulate Master Lin. This brilliant disciple of a man intends to accept him into his sect under the command of a demon. Dea's father is at a loss. He reminds Mr. Envoy that 3 years ago he already helped present the supreme bone of Jiang Yu to His Excellency, the Emperor's son. This time, the interlocutor's face darkens. Master Lin does not agree with this decision. He rudely says that the Hongwu sect is just a mud of the Lingsao sacred land. He doesn't need to teach Lin how to be an obedient dog of the Emperor. The master immediately bows. He apologizes for allowing himself to say too much. The messenger puts down a bowl and asks him not to worry. All the master needs is to devote himself wholeheartedly to the service of the Holy Land, and naturally, Lin will receive a lot of benefits from this. The servant who came bows to the master and informs him that the eldest daughter has found a disciple who has awakened his physique. Now he is waiting outside for the master to summon him. Lin asks to bring him here as soon as possible. Someone who was definitely not expected to see here enters the hall. Jiang Yu, who mockingly greets his teacher. The master immediately jumps up from his seat and shouts that the man should get out of here. This place is definitely not for a disabled person like him. The messenger finds this situation interesting. Last time, the Emperor's son took a bone from Jiang, and this time he wants to involve him in the case because of his physique. Meanwhile, the newcomer seems to be surprised to ask about the words about the disabled person. He says that Master Lin seems to have lost his mind. He thought that the man was in a hurry to invite him to an audience, but why, in that case, did the father of the day change his face so quickly? Jiang demonstrates his strength as proof and, in order to humiliate the teacher for sure, summons a golden aura that illuminates the hall with a powerful stream. The master freezes in surprise. This is the last stage of the kingdom of the 5 elements. Didn't Lin declare him incapacitated? The student comes closer to the old man. Is he still hoping to make him an invalid? The master really didn't expect that Jiang Yu would be able to awaken a new physique after being destroyed by his own hands. The Holy Land wants to recruit this man with his talent, but if he enters these places, then in the future he will surely take revenge on Lin for what he did. It would have been better if the old man had strangled this kid in the cradle. The master's face twists, and he orders the rebel who dared to be rude and defame him, the teacher of this sect, to kneel down. The man releases a ball of power towards the newcomer, and this makes Jiang actually feel danger. This is the palm of Xuanwu, a hidden rank martial art. That old bastard really wants him dead. The messenger asks the master with a shout what Lin Ziyu is doing. When the teacher replies that he accidentally lost his temper, he does not look at all as if he repents. He is sure that the annoying Jiang Yu is definitely dead this time. The messenger does not want to listen to his pathetic explanations. For the murder of Jiang Yu, the teacher will be severely punished. Meanwhile, in the tangles of dust, the system asks if the host wants to learn the divine technique, the secret of the sacred body of the Buddha. The man chooses the answer yes. The system congratulates him on acquiring the divine technique. This thing is really suitable for Jiang. If someone else were in his place, he would already be dead. But Yu is not only not afraid of death, which is not terrible to him after 3 years of cultivation, but becomes stronger when he dies. This is downright a bug of some kind. When the smoke clears, Jiang Yu is still standing on his own 2 feet. The 2 elders do not believe in what they saw. It was impossible not to kill this child, because Master Lin has the cultivation of the spirit of the north of the last stage, and all the strength that he has should exceed Jiang's strength. The guy, engulfed in flames, asks if he is surprised that the master is disappointed that he is not dead. How can an impudent person talk to him like that? Ziyu rushes at him, about to attack with his hand again. Jiang dodges, a smirk on his lips. He's better than that pompous old man. Lin uses the technique of the finger shaking the heavens and puts it to the student's chest. Yu mockingly says that it was a very stupid move. Is this kid really going to directly meet the finger shaking the heavens? Yes, it can't be. The old man's hand is covered with fire. Strong technique, nothing to say. Now it's Jiang's turn. The disciple hits, and the master barely dodges, but this does not upset Yu. He says that the old man's cultivation level of the spirit of the north is so-so, compared to the realm of the 5 elements. Jiang Lin will not even be able to damage the hair on his head. Their fight is interrupted by the messenger. He applauds loudly and admires steadfastness, because this is the best quality of youth. He needs talents like Jiang Yu in the western field of the Holy Land. The disciple turns towards the messenger. He declares that this is a matter only between him and Lin Ziyu. Who is this man to so unceremoniously interfere in other people's personal accounts? Jiang worries that this person's cultivation level is stronger than the master's. Where is he from? The defeated Lin asks how this Naha dares to talk like that to the deputy of the western harem of the Holy Land of Lingsao. If Jiang insults him, then even 10,000 lives will not be enough for a disciple to die. Yu asks about the sacred land of Lingsao. The envoy asks Jiang not to misunderstand. His sacred land of Lingsao is divided into 2 parts, east and west. With a snap of his fingers, he sends a piece of gold into the student's hands and continues to speak. The one who is at enmity with Jiang is the Saint Master of the Eastern Field. He has nothing to do with the Western Field, although the Western side has always appreciated talents. The student catches a piece of gold sent to him, which turns out to be a tablet with a short inscription. The envoy asks to think carefully about joining the Western Field, because Jiang has great prospects in the matter of cultivation. The table says West Field. Feeling a strong deja vu, Yu is interested in what kind of Western field it is. The messenger, delighted with the student's interest, says that he guarantees any conditions if the guy goes over to his side. Any conditions bribe Jiang. He cunningly asks if the messenger will fulfill his condition, to present him with the life of the elder of the Holy Land of Lingsao, Fan Xinyu. The interlocutor is discouraged by such a request. Yu shrugs it off. Apparently, what was said earlier about the western field of the Holy Land is just empty words to lure him. The messenger really can't do it and asks Jiang to choose something else. But other conditions do not interest the student. The man's face no longer radiates benevolence. If he doesn't want it in a good way, then it will be in a bad way. Young people should not become so arrogant. Let Jiang mean that an unformed talent will not surpass a cockroach. Is he threatening Yu? How funny. Jiang clenches his hand into a fist, breaking the sign, and announces that in this case there is no need to hold any negotiations between them, since the outcome is predetermined. The master is terrified. The messenger in anger says that Jiang Yu is definitely looking for death. The pupil's eyes light up with joy. Yes, he is looking for death. Let him come, since he wants to kill the young master so much. The man in a rage calls on his strength and says that if he has the courage to say so, then let's look at his brilliant fighting technique of the Holy Land. Streaks of light cut through space. Master Lin is delighted to see the messenger's actions. It's an instant kill technique. Streaks of energy are attacking Jiang's body, and now he will definitely not survive. But even after making a dent in the floor, Yu still rises. The system assigns 108 points. Jiang is surprised by this. It turns out that he will die 108 times. This does not upset the guy a bit. He greedily says that such an attack is worthy of a representative of the authorities. The experience is delivered right to the address. Master Lin bows to the messenger and reverently addresses him, saying that the man is really an exceptional person, even cultivated the instant kill technique to such a level. But the messenger replies that the old man is exaggerating, but only to practice the technique of instant killing. A casual conversation between the two of them is interrupted by Jiang, whose clothes, although they look shabby, but he himself is in perfect order. How did he stay alive after the instant killing technique of such a person as the messenger? Jiang is surprised to learn that it was such a famous technique and dusts off his clothes. He asks to kill him a few more times, and he thinks about how he will get more experience points now. And when he gets into the realm of true mastery, he will immediately send him on a long journey. The messenger is at a loss. It was absolutely impossible for a 5-element cockroach to be able to withstand his instant kill technique. What kind of physique had Jiang Yu awakened? The death hour is approaching in the western field. The Supreme Elder, thanks to whose support the West is able to restrain the eastern field, is looking for a suitable talent for cultivation so that he can use it to transmigrate into a new body. It seems that Jiang Yu's physique is most suitable for the Supreme Elder to occupy his body. The messenger's face suddenly becomes extremely friendly. He says that Jiang Yu has impressed him and therefore he will not kill him today, but will give him a few days to think in return. But the student starts begging to hit him a few more times. He'd rather die than give up. The interlocutor puts his hand on the guy's shoulder and promises that he has 3 days to think in reserve. Before leaving, the messenger asks Lin Ziyu to look after this stupid child, and in the meantime he needs to report something to the Holy Land. If the boy is not here, then there will no longer be a need for the existence of the Honghu sect. Jiang still can't believe they're not going to fight him. As such, he only found a good way to earn himself points. He blocks the way of the messenger and says that he was joking about what he said, that he would rather die than surrender to his mercy. Let him hit a few more times and perhaps Jiang will immediately give in. Let him not give up. Failure is the mother of success. The messenger clenches his teeth in frustration. This guy is a retarded idiot. The man still beats the kid, ordering him to get out, and 360 points are credited to Yu's account. With tears in his eyes, Jiang thanks the messenger, calling him an altruist, because he gave him 468 points. After some time, students gather at the martial arts stadium at the Xuanwu Gate. They look at how their master Lin is doing something with the leg of Jiang Yu lying flat on his stomach, and he asks him to do it harder, although the old man apparently ate little. After such words, Lin throws off his leg and calls him a troublemaker, and also asks not to bully people too much. Yu approaches his face and asks if the master really blames him for this, a simple disciple. He puts a knife to his neck and using theatrical skills, while definitely overplaying. He says in a sad voice that it seems that the student can apologize by suicide and in no other way in order to calm the teacher's anger. Lin immediately rushes to him, asking him not to do this, and grabs the blade of the knife, accidentally injuring his hand. Jiang mockingly wonders if it was worth it. The master could not have imagined that after all those years of living in this mortal world, he would suffer such a failure with an incompetent fool. And why was he so strong? Besides, if it wasn't for checking the messenger, who definitely wants to save the kid's life, Ziyu himself would have dealt with the impudent man long ago. With a forced smile, the teacher apologizes for being too impulsive, but high-ranking people like Jiang Yu should forgive the mistakes of people below. The student should not behave so rashly. The guy immediately admits that he just wanted to make a joke. How can he try to kill himself so stupidly? Not his style. Moreover, even though his life is as insignificant as the life of a garbage cockroach, it is still connected with the lives of hundreds of other people in the Hongwu sect. Even if Jiang wants to die, he will still have to think about his comrades. Doesn't the teacher agree with him? Lin replies that he is absolutely right. In the crowd, the boy indignantly asks who this impudent person is, so that the master bows to him and apologizes. A friend standing next to him calls the newcomer Jiang Yu the most ruthless person in their sect, and if he hears this question, he will be killed quickly. The kid asks if he's really that terrifying. The student immediately tells that a few days ago a couple of older brothers rushed at Jiang, and he presented a knife to his neck, trying to commit suicide. The guy wonders why everyone is so afraid that you will commit suicide. A friend complains that he does not understand and begins to tell the reason for such a special behavior to the newcomer. At the storehouse of Buddhist canons, two guards guarding the entrance tense up at the sight of Jiang approaching. One of them strictly says that entry is prohibited, but he immediately notes that the person who came up has a relaxed pose, a skillful suicide technique. Could it be the same Yu? An old man appears behind the disciple and asks to let Jiang inside. The guy bows to the man, saying that he hasn't seen Elder Wu for a long time, and he still looks just fine. Wu snorts, the brat hasn't changed a bit, he's still talking in vain. The elder has heard a lot about his affairs. Because of the damned kid, there has not been a moment of peace in recent days. Jiang laughs, saying that he is clearly being overpraised. The old man strictly advises him to forgive people whenever possible, and not to go too far in his intentions. If a guy doesn't want to do it for his own well-being, then at least let him take care of his master. The elder understands that Jiang did not come to the Buddhist canon's repository to remember his old friendship with the old man, and therefore holds out the key to the third floor of the repository, hurrying him to go inside. This time Yu bows to the elder with sincere gratitude. Wu looks after the disciple and thinks that unfortunately, this is the last thing he can do to help Lin Ziyu. The elder believes that he will not put his father's order to shame. The old man can only hope that the child, Jiang Yu, will not forget this good deed. Otherwise, in the worst-case scenario, the Hongwu sect will reap bitter fruits. In addition to the student, there are several other people in the vault. Looking around, Jiang comes to the conclusion that over the past few years Lin Ziyu has received a lot of benefits from the Lingsao Holy Land. The collection of books on the first floor is much larger than it was before. With enthusiastic eyes, Yu goes to get techniques and rare books, while behind his back, visitors whisper that this madman does not pay attention to them. On the Tianyu continent, secret techniques are divided into 6 ranks: Celestial, Tao, Sage, Secret Spirit, and Mortal. With the exception of the Mortal rank, all other secret techniques require reaching the realm of the 5 elements before they can be cultivated. The first floor contains information about mortal rank techniques, which are not particularly useful for a cultivator like Jiang Yu. It would be better to visit the second floor. The entrance is blocked by some kind of symbol, which, it seems, was not here last time. He angrily puts his hands to this symbol, because nothing will stop Jiang from gaining knowledge, and orders this thing to get out of the way. The drawing lights up, as if protecting the second floor, and Yuya throws back to the first. He lands at the feet of Zhu Han's disciple, who laughs at him for not opening this stone door by simple brute force. This guy with a fan in his hands is the first disciple of the great elder of the Hongwu sect. Zhu himself goes up to this door and puts one palm on it. He explains that in order to enter the second level of the vault, one must succeed in cultivating 10 mortal rank techniques. Zhu says that it took him 3 years to complete the study of 10 techniques. As for Jiang, then you just need to take your time and laugh arrogantly at the end of the speech. Yu is angry, it's just some pathetic 10 techniques. How can such a trifle stop him? The student calls the system, which sleepily asks what he needs at such an early hour. The sleep cap flies off the cloud when Jiang grabs it and asks if there is a way to quickly learn 10 mortal rank techniques. Cloud asks if he's joking with her. The West falls off the student, and he discards the system. This is really impossible. Although he actually counted on a cloud, let him forget about his problems. He will sort it out somehow. The system arches an eyebrow. Who said she couldn't do it? She was just wondering why Jiang needed to learn such lame techniques. Overjoyed that there is still a way, Yu asks to forget about the reason and demands to tell what he needs to do. The answer required by the student is quite simple. He just needs to put his hand on the book of secret techniques and use his experience to study it. Oh, so that's it. The system is disappearing, asking to stop bothering her about trifles in the future. Jiang takes the book, deciding to start with it. It turns out to be about studying an unfinished technique, the fist of a wild tiger. By simply clicking on the system message, Yu absorbs all the knowledge of this technique. The system is really a powerful thing. The guy studied book after book until he finally reached the desired number, and then again approaches the door to the second floor. Someone behind me asks if Jiang Yu really still wants to get to the second floor. The man laughs. This fool will try to use brute force again to open the ancient stone. Wait a little longer, and the door will make a mockery of him again. But when Jiang touches the symbol on the door with his palm, she is in no hurry to reject the visitor, as before. Light covers the room. Two guys who were laughing at you a couple of minutes ago quickly approach him and ask how he was able to learn 10 mortal rank techniques for half a stick of incense. It's just amazing. But Jiang only says that strong explanations are not needed and goes to the second level. On the second floor of the vault, the scrolls were enclosed in glowing round capsules. Dea approaches one of them to study the technique of the highest spiritual rank, the technique of the source of fire. The girl doesn't know if it will work this time, but when she holds out her hand, the capsule does not react at all. A ripple of regret passes over Dea's face. She failed again. Ju approaches her and tells her sister that this is just a fire technique. If she wants to study it so much, then he will gladly give it to his sister. When Dea, raising her head, leaves without an answer, the guy grits his teeth, complaining that this woman is so ungrateful. He wants his sister to kneel before him one day and become his. The door opens, which surprises Ju, and then Jiang's blonde head appears around the corner. What the hell? How did he get here? Yu laughs. Why wouldn't he get here? With his talent, it's impossible to spend 3 whole years studying mortal rank techniques like some. Han asks not to talk nonsense and declares that he considers himself above bickering with Jiang. Jiang mockingly replies that some mediocre people are not able to discern the difference between themselves and geniuses. 3 students at once, including Zhu Han, shout to ask who this cheeky man called mediocrity. The guy shakes his head and asks not to misunderstand. He's not talking about him at all. However, he immediately adds that he is talking about everyone at once, so Zhu is not alone in the boat. 3 attack him after such insulting words. Jiang praises himself for coming here, because fighting with other students is really a good opportunity to practice his newly acquired martial arts skills. He hits one with his foot, knocking down the opponent, attacks the other with the palm of a flying dragon, and Zhu uses the fist of a rabid tiger. Now the opponents are sitting prostrate on the floor of the vault, and Jiang is broadcasting that he actually warned these mediocre people about the consequences, but they insisted on their own and asked for cruelty themselves. Dea appears. She is much more happy to see you than Zhu. When she sees the other students, she asks her brother what is going on here. Jiang regretfully says that it was just a little sparring in martial arts, and he found out that the disciples of the Hongwu sect are getting worse and worse every year. Dea agrees with him. Some of them are not only incompetent, but also like to molest female students, thereby discrediting the morality of the sect. Dea will have to talk to the elders about how to establish discipline in this place. The couple leaves, and behind them, with his face distorted in anger, Zhu promises to tear this arrogant Jiang into pieces one day. They walk past the scrolls and the capsules, and Yu asks that since all the techniques on the second floor are protected by a magic barrier, how can he get them out of there? Dea, instead of answering, asks if the brother is here for the first time. Since this is true, the girl explains that on the second level of the vault there are techniques above the spiritual rank. All techniques above the spiritual already possess consciousness and can choose a suitable martial artist for cultivation. All you need to do for this is to show your arrow on the magic barrier in which the technique is located, and it will immediately conduct a selection. If the cultivation is suitable, then the technique itself will break through the barrier and come out to the cultivator. Everything really turns out to be quite simple. Jiang immediately manifests his aura, spreading it to the entire vault. Dea looks with surprise at how the magical barriers are collapsing, and the techniques in them are flying towards their new owner. The flow of Yu's strong energy caused the whole building to shake, and Zhu, standing at the entrance, asks if it really is an earthquake. His sycophants embrace him in 2 sides in fear for themselves and for the boss. Suddenly, a scroll with a technique flies out of Zhu's chest. This is his early-stage secret rank martial art. Where to? In an attempt to reach for the equipment, Zhu falls to the floor. Dea looks at everything with confusion. It just can't be. Just by standing still with an open aura, her friend forced all the martial arts of the second floor to break through the protective barriers. Jiang has a monstrous gift. Yu considers techniques, there are just countless of them. But it seems that the protection on the second floor of the Buddhist canon repository is nothing more than a formality. Dea notices a scroll with a fire source technique in her brother's hands and hurries to inform him about it. Jiang, noticing her friend's enthusiasm, asks if she needs it. In this case, he will just give the technique to his sister. He is not sorry. The girl does not refuse the gift that she has long wanted to get, thanks him from the bottom of her heart. Jiang meanwhile begins to wonder why all the techniques received are spiritual rank techniques, because they are on the second floor. Are there really no secret rank techniques? As soon as he thinks about secret techniques, a technique that sparkles with golden light turns out to be in front of the guy's face. Wow, this is an early stage martial art, a hand catching dragons. Yu takes the scroll in his palm. Ju appears, shouting for Jiang to get his dirty hands off his secret technique. The guy raises his eyebrows, as if in surprise. Where is it written that the scroll belongs to him? Dea takes the side of a friend. She recalls that the techniques of the second repository were always received by those who could afford them. The girl scolds Han for being such a brawler. Isn't she really afraid that she might complain to the Grand Elder? But Ju is not going to give up just like that. The scroll was given to him by his teacher. When Dea wants to continue fighting with him, Jiang stands in front of her and tells her sister that there is no need to fight with such a person. The disciple already informs Ju that since he needs this technique so much, then let him take it if he has enough courage. He, of course, understands that Han is not his opponent, and therefore immediately orders to get out of his way. Veins stand out on Ju's forehead. This impudent man forced him to do this. Let him not think that Han is afraid of him. An orange pill appears in the elder's fingers, given to Ju by his teacher, who strictly ordered him to use it only as a last resort. The pill will allow you to briefly go beyond the realm. Han swallows the pill. The capillaries in his eyes burst. The veins on his face swell as if the guy is pulling something heavy. A blue glow appears around him, and the floor breaks under someone else's force. Jiang chuckles. Is this guy so desperate that he used a drug? Well, wow. Does he really think that he will become an equal opponent for you if he takes the drug? How naive. Dea covers her mouth with her hand from shock. Ju shakes his head. It's not just amplifiers. It's strength and power that these two can't feel. He clenches his hand into a fist and says that if Jiang Yu wants to laugh, then let him do it now. For him to kill a boy now is like crushing a cockroach. Dea screams that Han has gone mad. The aura around him is equivalent to the middle of the realm of true mastery. However, unlike her friend, Jiang is not so horrified by the changes. For him, this is just the middle stage of true mastery, which is not comparable to his talents. Yu will allow his opponent to make 3 attacks, so that then this old turtle, whom he calls the Great Elder, does not say that he offends the weak. Ju rushes at him, amazed that even before his death, Yu dares to be rude to him. Dea asks her brother to leave. Han will kill him. An explosion is heard, which, however, does not kill Jiang, much to Ju's surprise. He pierces the opponent's chest with energy, but does not understand how he can be so strong. He is only in the realm of the 5 elements. Meanwhile, Jiang counts the attack. Han is still convinced that this man is a pathetic invalid. This time, Ju attacks Yu with the technique of destroying the opponent, piercing the student's right shoulder. The second attack, Han seems to be beginning to realize the extent of his plight. Jiang doesn't even look tired of enduring his attacks. Jumping up, the elder uses his last chance. The technique is called the Law of the Clear Sky and hits his fist in the face. Ju starts laughing like a madman when he sees someone else's blood, saying that Jiang overdid it, overestimated his strength. Yu does not deny it and licks the blood that flows from his broken forehead. 3 attacks are over, now it's his turn to show who's in charge. He uses the technique of the secret rank hand-catching dragons taken from Ju. Having powerfully hit the stream of fire, the younger one throws the enemy to the ceiling. When Han lands on his ass, a huge golden hand is already hanging over him. Ju begins to beg. He asks Jiang to stop, admits that Big Brother was wrong, but Yu is in no hurry to stop. It is too late for this. The tiger does not threaten, but shows his strength. Who does the elder take him for? Pointing his fingers downwards, he brings down a blow on the person lying down. A crater appears around Ju, and he himself is passed out. Dea is not particularly happy about this outcome. Brother crippled Ju, and after all, he was the most beloved disciple of the Great Elder. What does he intend to do now? Jiang is angry at such words. So what if Han is a favorite? Well, the path of cultivation survives the strongest. Didn't the sect master and the Grand Elder himself do the same to Jiang Yu himself 3 years ago? The fists here are the only thing that makes sense. If today the disciple remained the same as he was 3 years ago, then the person lying on the ground would be him, not Zhu Han. Dea looks at him with pity. Perhaps she really regrets what her father did 3 years ago. Jiang leaves and leaves other techniques to Dea. The girl does not try to stop him. She just looks at him and sees the difference. He really is different from his past self. What happened to my brother during his 3 years of absence from the sect? Yu, despite his formidable appearance, is on the rise. He's pleased with himself because it's over. Success and name are deeply hidden. Wasn't the guy good looking just now? Jiang steps onto the 3rd floor of the vault, where, according to numerous rumors, only generations of sect heads can enter. The disciple's eyes are shining. There are 8 techniques of the last stage of the secret rank in front of him. 8 scrolls are enclosed in blue magic spheres. But the guy quickly finds what he needs more than the rest. In his teeth, a huge statue of a turtle holds a thick scroll. This is at least a secret rank technique, or even higher. Jiang jumps up to the turtle's head, and his eyes light up with fire. The statue clearly does not want to give up its thing. A barrier blocks his way to the turtle, really not as easy to get as it was on the second floor. Jiang uses the dragon catcher's hand technique and directs towards the statue. The reciprocal flow of energy pierces the hand through, which Yu calls a complete disgrace. Moreover, the energy attacks the student himself. The guy dies, which adds 1 point to his experience. Not bad, but not good either. The blue energy of the turtle gathers at her head, and from this radiance an old man appears, who in a menacing voice asks about who dared to touch the true scripture of Xuanwu. Now Jiang feels that he has made himself an unpleasant opponent. He has a terrifying power in front of him. This man has a kingdom stronger than the messenger of the Holy Land. Since when did such a strong cultivator appear in this rotten Hongwu sect? The old man's gaze falls on the boy, and he immediately determines that he is at the level of the 5 elements. In addition, it can withstand the effects of the true Xuanwu scripture. Was he a descendant of his Xuanwu sect? Jiang is surprised by this question. Aren't they in Hongwu territory? The old man is angry, because Hongwu and Xuanwu are the same thing. How did the boy get here, if he doesn't even know such an elementary thing? The old man demands to show his intentions. The man sees that this is the great law of soul summoning. After looking at the guy's memories, he finds it interesting that Wu Quanjian initially let him in here. The old man can't believe that he finally has a worthy descendant from the Xuanwu sect. Jiang swears this person should not find out the secret of his immortal body. There will be no problems later. The old man admits that there are secrets in the guy that even he can't see. How interesting. Yu exhales. Looks like he didn't. The stranger says that since the guy is a descendant of his Xuanwu sect, he can freely study the 8 techniques that are on the 3rd floor. But about the true scripture of the sect, the boy should leave his thoughts. Jiang frowns. Does the old man want to leave him with 8 insignificant secret class techniques? This is the so-called true scripture of Xuanwu. You will taste it today, and even the heavenly emperor will not stop him. The man shakes his head. With the arrogant boy's current cultivation level, he wouldn't be able to study the sect's true scripture even if he received it. The old man says that the true scripture of Xuanwu was created by a higher being, and in order to study it, you must first enter nirvana and only then begin studying. Only a master of the immortal realm has a chance to learn the true scripture of the sect. So a youngster like Jiang Yu, from the realm of the 5 elements, will be completely destroyed if he forces himself to practice it. The guy stands on his own. How can his ancestor talk about this? How does he know that he won't succeed if the student hasn't even tried? With his current strength, after all, Yu is definitely not an opponent to those people from the Lingsao Holy Land. An old man stroking his long beard. Apparently, the young man will not retreat before difficulties without tasting the taste of bitterness. After his words, magical bonds appear from the floor, which wrap around the guy's ankles and hands. Jiang angrily asks what the old man is going to do. The man's eyes light up red. Since Yu wants to learn the true scripture of the sect so much, then let him test his abilities. The student looks at the bonds in confusion. The ghost asks not to tell him later that he did not give the guy a chance. Before Jiang is a thread of true Kai Xuanwu. If he can withstand it, then the old man will teach him the true scripture. The thread pierces the young man's body. The true Kai destroys his meridians. He definitely can't stand it. Yu grimaces and screams in pain. Nevertheless, the system adds to his experience. The space is colored with scarlet energy. The turtle statue suddenly begins to crack, which leaves the old man left completely amazed. Jiang breaks the bonds. There are bruises and abrasions on his hands, and he looks exhausted. Yu is terrified of this technique. If his body wasn't immortal, then he would definitely be dead already. The old man is still in amazement. The kid really resisted his true Kai. Could it be that he is really able to study the true scripture of the sect? Rays appear from the eyes of the turtle, which are directed towards the disciple. He finds himself in a space similar to the boundless cosmos. What is this place? The old man, who also appeared here, asks the guy not to panic. This is just his grotto of immortality. Jiang's eyebrows rise in surprise. Rumor has it that among those who have the grotto of immortality, only the strongest people can create their own world. In the 4 holy lands, such can be counted on the fingers of one hand. The old man closes his eyes wearily. He had never thought that the one who would inherit his mantle would turn out to be a boy with the realm of the 5 elements. It looks like there really is something special about him. Jiang is imbued with a sudden respect for him and asks who he is. The man introduces himself as Lin Tian, the 6th descendant of the greatest Xuanwu. By and large, he is the founder of the sect. Yu does not understand one thing. If the founder is so strong, then why willingly allows Hongwu to be a henchman of the Lingsao Holy Land? With such might, Lin Tian could make Hongwu equal with the 4 sacred lands. The kid is probably a fool. The old man is dead. How can he compete with the other 4 lands in this case? The student is amazed that this person is dead. The founder explains that 200 years ago, he was about to break into the Sage's realm when he was suddenly besieged by 4 great saints at the peak of his weakness, and as a result, his body was destroyed, leaving only a pathetic remnant of his soul. And although Lin dealt with great saints with heavy damage at that time, after his death, the Xuanwu clan no longer had the powerful of this world, and eventually the sect was left to fend for itself. If it wasn't for Ling Xiao Holy Land's greed for the secrets of the true scripture, then most likely, Xuanwu would have been cut off from her heritage long ago. The guy would never have thought that the Hongwu sect still had such secrets. Just think, Lin Tian says that since Jiang is a disciple of his sect and has received the approval of the true Xuanwu scripture, he will pass it on to the disciple in the hope that one day you will be able to lead the sect and regain its former glory. The guy accepts such a burden and promises to fulfill the mission with honor. The founder says he will teach him the true scripture. He asks you to listen carefully and tells you that writing Xuanwu is not a technique at all, but a special method of improving the body. There are 12 levels of the Xuanwu Sutra, the founder of only the 8th level in his entire life. If he practiced only the 1st level of true scripture, he would not be inferior to the strongest of the true martial realm only in terms of physical body. The old man will give him all 12 levels. One day, this guy must surpass him for the sake of their common sect. With a wave of his hand, he directs the flow of energy into the student's head. Jiang already feels this power. It's such an unfathomable technique. Perhaps it is not inferior to the secret of the sacred body of the Buddha. Lin Tian is pleased with the result. The guy quickly entered the 1st word of the true scripture. He really did not make a mistake in it. The man asks to be allowed to use this residual body to check how deeply he has grasped the meaning of the innermost meaning. The founder asks you to catch and follow the movement at the same time. Yu meets danger with a smile on his face. Let the old man be afraid of him. The young man accepts the attack, and Lin praises him for it. Once again in that case, they attack each other, and the student does well for his level. Jiang attacks swiftly, and suddenly the man coughs up blood. Yu's aura immediately disappears. He anxiously asks how he feels. The old man settles on the floor of the space and says that nothing important has happened. It's just the rest of his soul. He's already with 1 foot in the grave anyway. The man says that if he had such a wonderful heir as this guy, he would be able to die without any regrets. Suddenly, the founder asks if the case is called Jiang Yu. As soon as the guy confirmed the information, Lin Tian calls him the heir of the 7th generation of the Supreme Xuanwu, and the Hongwu sect will obey his orders. He closes his eyes and finally says that in the end he did not allow his clan to remain without an heir. And then his body dissolves into space and only memories of him remain on the hands of the student. When Yu gets to his feet, he finds himself on the 3rd floor of the vault in front of the turtle statue. The system congratulates the host that he killed a master above his level. Experience plus 10 million. Contrary to his usual reactions to such things, Jiang swears and causes a cloud. This time she brushes her teeth and asks why the owner is shouting so loudly. The guy roughly grabs the system and asks to explain what the meaning of this damn experience is. Cloud looks at the system message, not understanding what he is talking about. Eyebrows are raised in surprise. Is Jiang interested in suicide again? Yu mimics the system and asks why she didn't immediately say that there is another way to earn points. But Cloud himself did not know that there is another way to pump the mechanism, and begins to study the functions while Jiang is boiling with anger behind. And indeed, the system quickly finds in the instructions that there is such a mechanism. If Yu had not said, then she would have forgotten about this function. Since she can't help with anything else, she'll go eat something, but the guy grabs her, bringing the Cloud closer to his face. He asks how many more functions this machinic system hides. Obviously, it is possible to raise the level by killing monsters, and she still offered him to commit suicide so many times. She keeps him for a mattress at all. He starts shaking her with all his might and demands that if she does not explain clearly today, then she should stop eating rice and eat all Yuan Bao. Cloud gives up and says that he will tell you everything. Killing enemies, as it turns out, increases experience, but the amount of experience gained corresponds to the strength of the enemy. The system enthusiastically waves its hands. If an enemy is killed above the level, it will increase the experience tenfold. Moreover, the techniques that the owner masters can also be improved by experience. There are still many confusing functions, so it all depends on Jiang himself. If he wants to understand them, then let him study them. Everything is in his best interests. The cloud opens the interface for improving techniques. The system advises that the owner should be more careful if he wants to kill the enemy every time and thereby raise the level. Then he should improve the techniques, and if he simply raises the kingdom, then the owner will not be able to truly unleash his potential. Cloud nervously wonders if the owner will let him go after that to have a quiet dinner with his wife. Jiang hisses at this scammer to get lost. Yu thoughtfully puts his fingers to his chin. To develop the hidden essence, right. With all the experience, he can raise his level to the last stage of the realm of true mastery or even higher. Not a bad deal. But just raising the level will have a minimal impact on his combat power, and even if the student reaches the realm of true mastery, the guy will not be able to match the levels above. In that case, it's decided. Yu presses the button and a bunch of window with information about techniques pops up. Jiang is pleased with the result, such a strong essence. He feels it. The strongman of the realm of true mastery will not even be able to catch his blows. In the sect of the Tei Immortals, the entire courtyard is strewn with the corpses of cultivators. Fan Xinyu, the first sacred son of Ling Xiao land, steps on the body of one of the disciples and says that this pile of garbage is too weak for someone like him. Behind him, Nalan Gang, the eighth sacred son of Ling Xiao, is laughing nastily, holding the hand of a beaten girl. An old man lying on the ground coughs up blood and attracts the attention of the attackers. Nalan kicks the old man, asking how, with such a low level of strength, they dare to collude with the western field against the eastern one. The man asks to be spared. The subordinate deserves death. Let him have mercy on him. He gets down on his knees and promises to break with the past, as well as embark on the path of righteousness. He will give all his strength to the east field. Fan crosses his arms over his chest and asks if he really expresses such a fervent desire to work. Why on earth would that be? The old man with the hope of pardon says that he is a practitioner of the immortal kingdom and is ready to sacrifice his blood to make an immortality pill for the Holy Sun. He is already beginning to say that the Holy Sun needs to let him go for this, but Fan cuts him off with a chopping motion, cutting off his head. Fan looks at the headless body with arrogance, an insignificant immortal realm at an early stage. For them it's just a pipe dream to become a henchman without even looking at whether it's worth it. The girl breaks out of Nalan's hands and rushes to the master. Fan asks with a laugh not to be so bloodthirsty in front of the ladies. The girl looks at them. There are tears of sadness in her eyes. Someday these two scoundrels will go to hell. Gan leans over her. His brother has immortality. Who can harm him? The eighth sacred son turns to the boss and asks what they should do with this woman. Fan orders him to let her go because she has a good talent, and in the future she can become his stepping stone on the way to becoming a celestial. Nalan tells the girl to leave before his boss changes his mind, and let him remember their names so that he can come back later and take revenge when he becomes stronger in the future. And now let him get lost. The girl wipes her tears, and although she looks with undisguised rage, the next moment she disappears from the murder scene like an arrow. In a bored tone, Fan announces that the sect of the immortal Tei has also been destroyed by them. Where should I go now? Looking at the sky, he catches a white bird that brought him a message attached to the paw. Nalan recognizes in the message of the sparkling cone a challenge from His Excellency the Wisest Lord. Unfolding the piece of paper, Fan reads a letter in which the envoy writes about Jiang Yu from the Hongwu sect, who has been chosen as a target for resettlement. The man has already postponed the advance of the western field to the Hongwu sect, so let him kill. The Fan understands that the guy from there wants to use the step he used himself again. He asks Nalan to follow him to the Hongwu sect, which will face the same fate as Tei. Jiang leaves the repository of Buddhist canons. Elder Wu is waiting for him at the entrance, whom the guy calls out. Yu sees how the man's face changes when he appears and points at himself with a puzzled finger. Is there something wrong with his face? The old man, meanwhile, looks at the aura of the one with surprise. Is that what he's thinking? The elder suddenly goes down on one knee and says that he came here to pay a visit to the young master. Jiang hesitantly freezes. What other young master? What is the elder doing at all? The old man explains that the one who has mastered the true Xuanwu scripture is a true master of the Hongwu sect, and the young master in front of him has the same aura as the previous master. The subordinate will never be able to make such a gross mistake. The disciple realizes that the elder knows the secret of the third level of the vault. However, Jiang asks the man to get up from his knees. It's still somehow wrong. The elder, standing up, says that he is sure that the young man saw the previous master. How is he there? Jiang regretfully announces that the master has passed away. The guy does not allow Wu to start grieving. He puts his hand on his shoulder and promises to avenge the old man. Do not grieve too much for him. Yu confidently declares that the days of dictatorship in the four great holy lands will not last long. Now he is the heir of the seventh generation. The old man tells the young master that the 4 great saints of the earth have deep roots. If he wants to avenge the old master, then he needs to think carefully. He should not act impulsively. Jiang convinces the elder that he is not a reckless person at all. However, he knows very little about the 4 great lands, so he would like to ask the elder to help him figure it out. Wu says that the land of Lingxiao, which dominates the rest, is the most powerful. 3 other lands, in the northern region of the Holy Land of Yaoqi, in the western side of the land of Kanglin, and the southern region of the Holy Land of Taoyi. As far as the man knows, there are at least 2 powerful masters in all 4 sides managing the territory. The figures of the elders are almost all the masters of the realm of the monastery. As for those who are below the border of this realm of the monastery, there are countless of them. In that case, it's no wonder that Lin Tian has fallen. Jiang could not have imagined that the rest of the Holy Lands are so powerful. However, Yu doesn't care about it anyway. He has an immortal body, so they won't do anything to him. The elder says that the reason the 4 Holy Lands are so strong and audacious is because they have almost completely monopolized the cultivation resources of the entire Tianyu continent. Even worse is the fact that in order to secure their position, the 4 lands forcibly absorb talents from all sects, and the slightest act of rebellion by the other sects led to their complete destruction. The previous master was disgusted by the behavior of the others, and therefore he opposed them, which is why he was killed by these shameless bastards. The elder regretfully says that even he and the guy's master, Jiang Yu, have fallen under the ban of the supreme elder of the Lingxiao Holy Land. Their cultivation can only remain at the late stage of the realm of immortality, with no hope of breaking into the realm of the abode for the rest of their lives. They were deprived of the chance to develop further in their cultivation. Jiang concludes that the 4 great lands have taken the standard scenario of cliched villains. By the way, since we are talking about the masters, Yu decides to ask where Jin Yu is now. The elder reports that his master was imprisoned by the main sect in the forbidden zone of the sect because she defended Jiang himself 3 years ago and rebelled against Ling Xiao. Yu is very angry. How the hell does Lin Ziyu dare to treat his master like this? The old man asks not to hate the head of Hongwu too much. For the sake of preserving the foundations of the Xuanwu sect, they can only bow to the holy land of Ling Xiao to at least delay death a little. This act was out of simple desperation. The elder enthusiastically says that now there is a young master who has learned the true scripture of Xuanwu. Now one can hope for the rise of their sect. Do not worry too much about the fate of their sect. This is Hongwu's decree. As long as the young master owns this decree, even the sect master is obliged to obey his orders. When the master sees this decree, the head of the sect will definitely spare his master. Jiang takes the decree written on the golden tablet and replies that he is grateful to the man. The elder says that the disciple is very kind, but now it is important that the young master cultivate the true scripture to the 7th level and above. Only then will you be able to lead the Hongwu sect cultivators against the 4 great holy lands, and until then, they should all be extremely careful. The student informs that you should not worry about him. He will definitely stay in the shadows so that no one gets into danger because of him. But he's definitely not going to tell the elder the truth. Is he honestly cultivating? What else? Dreaming. His plan is quite different. You need to gather the experience of several great masters of the Holy Land, supreme elders and the like. The 7th level of the true Xuanwu scripture is not such an easy matter as it might seem from the very beginning. In the great hall of the sect, the teacher asks Ju who inflicted such wounds on him. He is lying in the elder's arms and somehow reports that it was the robber Jiang Yu. The old man clenches his teeth. That kid is a complete curse, he'll just tear him to pieces. The master gives him a non-extinguishing pill that will help heal the wounds. The man asks him to take it quickly, but someone from behind knocks the pill out of his hands. The master turns around to see who dared to break into him so brazenly. He's just seething with anger and anger. Jiang Yu is standing on the threshold, who calls the senior student a worthless invalid, and the teacher also spends such precious medicine for him. He gloatingly reports that the Grand Elder is too selfish. The teacher leaves his beloved disciple to get up and start threatening Jiang. He not only injured Ju, but also dared to come here, and even destroy a valuable medicine. So eager for him to destroy this worthless kid again. In that case, the Grand Elder will restore order here, since no one else can. The man gathers energy in his hands, intending to immediately put the threat into action. Yu grins in response. Old and worthless, he won't die in any way, so he also wants to fight with him. This is the perfect day to settle old and new grievances. Jiang Yi couldn't have come up with a better one. Suddenly, Master Lin appears between them, who orders the 2 of them to stop. The Grand Elder asks why the brother mentor stops, because he is also not enthusiastic about the Jiang boy. Lin reminds them that they still need this child. It will come in handy since the messenger left you in their care. The elder lets out a laugh. The brother doesn't have to worry, since this is the case. A few hours ago the man received new instructions from the Lingxiao Holy Land, in which the wisest Lord Fang ordered them to do everything possible to kill the impudent Jiang Yu. The master doesn't even believe that the elder is serious. But this does not concern the security of the Hongwu sect. What kind of jokes are there? How can a brother deceive another brother? It turns out that the situation is changing tremendously. For that matter, then the master doesn't need to put up with this boy anymore. He will return the humiliation that Jiang will make him go through these days and kill him with his own hands. The boy has annoyed too many people. The young man remembers how these two attacked him in the same way 3 years ago. Jiang advises them to think carefully, because if he strikes, he will not kill them easily. He calls upon the force, and Master Lin sees that he has become stronger. He warns the Grand Elder to be extremely careful, as now Jiang's strength is not inferior to true skill. However, the man asks not to strain. For all these years, with the help of the Holy Land, he has reached the threshold of the Kingdom of Immortality. He is also not afraid of the impudent, as he was 3 years ago. The aura curls around the old man. A boy from the realm of the 5 elements is not worthy of the attention of the Great Elder. Jiang says that this man is twice as strong as Lin Ziyu, but not as good as that messenger of the Holy Land. It seems that he should also become more serious, since he is finally being taken seriously. With a broad smile on his face, which does not bode well for the opponent, the elder attacks the disciple, saying that let him rejoice, since he was allowed to feel his strength going beyond the realm of true mastery. A man asks a guy to die. Senior uses the Palm of Great Nirvana, an advanced Xuanwu combat skill. His aura differs in color from the auras of other cultivators. It has several shades at once. Jiang does not shy away from the blow, but decides to test what a capable body, tempered by the 2nd level of the true Xuanwu scripture, is capable of. Time to see if he can stand up to a man above the realm of true mastery. He crosses his arms over his chest, looking at what is happening with excitement. When the smoke from the blow dissipates, the two men look at a healthy and, most terrifyingly, a living Jiang Yu. The young man laughs. The Great Elder ate little porridge, apparently. He really thought that he would die at least once. He did not expect at all that his skin would not even burst from such a blow. This is the strengthening of the body by the 2nd level of true scripture. Previously, the guy could not even dream of such a thing. Jiang asks about the fact that didn't they want to show him the power that surpasses the realm of true mastery. The Grand Elder says that this is impossible. Even the sons of the Holy Land did not possess such power when they were in the realm of the 5 elements. He refuses to believe it. Why couldn't he, the one who crossed the threshold of true mastery, harm even a youth with the realm of the 5 elements? Jiang, with a straight face, dodges his attacks, not even looking the least bit concerned about the current situation. Master Lin suddenly sees that the disciple's aura has changed. Just as quickly as Elder Wu, he realizes that the kid has studied the true scripture of Xuanwu. Jiang tells the Grand Elder to be careful, because he only uses one technique. Against someone like him, mortal rank combat skills would be enough. A tiger's head rises above the man. The elder recognizes in it the secret technique of his beloved disciple, who continues to lie face down on the ground and tremble. He rushes to him, and Zhu asks him, perplexed, what he is doing. The man asks to forgive him and uses the student as a human shield. The teacher promises to take revenge on the impudent man for Zhu's death, but now he will have to sacrifice himself. Jiang, attacking from the air, no longer looks like himself. His eyes are burning with red flames, and his face is distorted in rage and readiness for battle with his enemy. The ball of energy flies straight into the face of Zhu, who does not have time to dodge or even move from his place. The system message congratulates the host on killing the opponent of the middle stage of the realm of the 5 elements. 20 points are added to the experience. Jiang also kills a higher ranked opponent who is on the half step of the realm of immortality, plus 5,000 experience points. Yu himself is amazed at his own strength. Is he that strong? Lin stares with disbelief at how this guy killed the Grand Elder with one blow. He now fully believed that his most problematic disciple had studied the true Xuanwu scripture. Jiang announces that Lin Ziyu himself will be next in line, and this makes the master really shudder and get scared. He falls to the floor and asks the disciple to come to his senses. He is the master of this sect, let him stop immediately. The master shouts that the Holy Land of Lingxiao will not forget such an insult, and will definitely avenge him. But Yu is interested in something else. Does Lin still think that he has the right to give orders in his presence? As if not so, Ziyu sees the energy in the guy's hands and how he is slowly approaching to kill as quickly and mercilessly as the Great Elder, and therefore begins to crawl back to get away from this madman at a distance. Suddenly Jiang holds his nose and complains about the stench. The master is offended even more. Does the boy dare to laugh at him? Anyway, Lin remains the head of the Hongwu sect. No one has the right to treat him like that. If Yu wants to disgrace him, then it would be better for the teacher if he killed himself. Jiang grimaces. Does he think so badly of him? He doesn't have a habit of killing all those who he doesn't like. The guy would have become a serial killer long ago if that were the case. Yu decides to spare this man only because he is Dae's father and a descendant of Tian's predecessor, whom the disciple respects immensely. He grabs the master by the collar and explains that he was not too happy about the pardon, that he did it only because of the kindness of his daughter and the founder of Hongwu, who both deserved 1,000 years of human gratitude and fruits for memory. Unlike Lin, he, Jiang Yu, is a very moral person who still has principles and concepts of morality. The old man opens his mouth. From all that tirade, he only heard that the guy really met their ancestor. Of course, the master knows about the existence of Elder Lin Tian. In that case, he should also know that Yu practiced the true Xuanwu scripture, right? The master does not understand what he is driving at. Does he want to make fun of him and show his own talents? Well, let him not wait for any excuses. The old man admits that he never regretted destroying him, because the boy himself does not understand what responsibility lies on him as the head of the Hongwu sect. But the student is not so superficial. He throws back the teacher and now speaks, looking down from above. The younger one asks the master to listen carefully. He doesn't care what the head had intentions or feelings. The young man can forget everything and leave it in the past. For him this is not a problem at all, but there is a condition that must be fulfilled. The head must fully obey him and faithfully follow orders. But the impudent, apparently, is delusional, and Lin is in a hurry to tell this. After all, what position does he have to force him, the head, to obey just a disciple who, although he has learned the true scripture, remains, in fact, nobody? Yu mockingly shows him a golden tablet with a decree from Elder Wu, and the master simply cannot believe his eyes. How did such a thing end up in the hands of a worthless person like Jiang Yu? But Jiang is in no hurry to answer this question, but only reminds that seeing Xuanwu's decree is like meeting the lord of their sect in person, so it's better for the master to kneel in front of him right now. Lin hesitates for a short time, but does as the young man orders, prostrates himself and on behalf of the entire Xuanwu sect expresses respect to the young master. Jiang is pleased with him, because, judging by what he saw, this man does not look like a great elder or his arrogant disciple. There are still rules of their sect inside Lin's heart, so the guy even spared him for a reason. After the proceedings, they go to the Grotto of Immortality Xuanwu. Young Master Jiang is walking forward, followed by the head of the sect Lin Ziyu, and behind him the rest of the Xuanwu members. The master says that this place is forbidden, because Elder Jiang Yu is imprisoned here. Yu frowns, dissatisfied with the layout. The Forbidden Cave is really worthy of its title. The ban on entering it is so strong that even after knowing the true scripture, he is afraid that he will not be able to break through the entrance. Lin, meanwhile, says that this Grotto of Immortality is a space developed from the second grotto, which, moreover, opens once every 10 years. Even the head does not know what is inside. The disciple remembers that in the true Xuanwu scripture, it really says that if you cultivate the scripture to the 6th level, you will be able to form a second grotto in your body. The grotto that the young man found in the repository of Buddhist canons should only be the out-of-body grotto of Lin Tian's ancestor. And this, the second Grotto of Immortality, was collected by an elder cultivating the true scripture of the sect. Jiang tells the head that he had previously told him that the cave opens once every 10 years, and his master has been in it for only 3 years. Is Lin unceremoniously telling him here that he has the abilities of Master Jiang? But the teacher says that he misunderstood everything, and there is no deception in his words. He explains that initially this grotto was opened once every 10 years, but as long as the student has the Hongwu decree in his hands, he can freely enter and leave this place at any time of the day or night. Once the decree is placed in the mechanism in the center of the cave, the young master will be able to open the passage to the grotto. Jiang does as he was told, and the next moment disappears in front of everyone.